Welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you this necklace, which is a bit unique, if you will, with its alternating crystals in both position and color, and this silver thread that winds around it like a little snake. It's perhaps a slightly more involved project than the others, but it's still very easy, maybe just a bit less quick to make. However, once you get the hang of it, the work goes smoothly. But before I show you the materials you'll need and the necklace tutorial, I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and activate the notification bell so you'll be alerted whenever I post something new. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like, comment, and share it. For this project, we will need 6mm crystals, which I have threaded onto a silver-colored jewelry thread, size 9. I threaded them in sequences of 2 by 2, that is 2 turquoise and 2 light blue. Of course, you can choose whichever colors you like best. Solid colors, all patterned, or a mix of various colors all together. Why not? It could still turn out beautifully. Next, we'll need a beading needle to thread the crystals. I used a 1.75mm crochet hook, a slightly larger crystal for the clasp or a button, or if you want to make a long necklace, you can even leave it without a clasp. I'll explain how to do that later. You'll also need scissors, jewelry glue, and possibly a yarn needle to hide the ends, but if you're used to working with a crochet hook, that works just fine too, and a measuring tape to measure our necklace. I've already made the necklace, so later I'll make a sample for you, and we'll see together how to attach the clasp. I've left it like this and we'll close it together. We'll go through the steps in the sample. This necklace is 70 centimeters long in total, and I used 54 light blue crystals and 52 turquoise crystals for a total of 106 crystals. Now let's see how I made it. As I already mentioned earlier, I have already threaded the crystals 2 by 2. The only thing we need to pay attention to is that if we decide to add a clasp, if we start with 2 light crystals, we should finish with 2 light crystals. If, on the other hand, we decide not to add a clasp and want to make a whole necklace in one piece, closing it with slip stitches, we need to follow the sequence: 2 light, 2 dark, 2 light, 2 dark, and finish in an alternating way so that when we close the necklace, the colors will remain alternated. Let's start our necklace by leaving a small piece of thread and making a slip knot. If you want to add a clasp like I did, make 3 chain stitches after the knot. If you don't want to add a clasp, make only 1 chain stitch because later you'll join it with the other end. That said, I take 2 crystals, bring them close together, and lengthen the loop. Lock them in place with a chain stitch and make a separating chain stitch. I take another 2 crystals. Bring them close together, lock both of them with a single chain stitch, and make another separating chain stitch. I take another 2 crystals and lock them in place with a chain stitch, always making sure to lengthen the loop well. Separating chain stitch, I take another 2 crystals, lengthen the loop well, make sure to always keep them all on the same side. And I carefully lock them with a secure chain stitch, using a separating chain stitch. Then I take another 2 crystals and lengthen the loop well. I carefully lock them in place, then I make a separating chain stitch to keep everything secure, and after that I go and get another 2 crystals to continue the process. I close it with a chain stitch, separating chain stitch, and I keep going until I've reached the length I like, the length I want for the necklace. In this case, I'll add a few more because this is just a sample. After that, we'll see how to proceed. Let's pretend I've reached my 70 centimeters, so I have the complete necklace. What do we need to do? I started with 2 turquoise beads and finished with 2 turquoise beads, so I'm going to make my 3 chain stitches and the loop. If, on the other hand, you don't want to add a clasp, you'll just stop here. If you end with the 2 blue beads and don't want to make the loop, then you'll just make 1 chain stitch and go back using the method I'll show you later. Now instead, I'm going to make the loop because this is probably the right size. Maybe I'll even make a bracelet out of it. I don't know. We'll see. So I continue with my 3 chain stitches. Then I make as many chain stitches as I need to create a loop for the type of button I've chosen. Button, crystal, pearl. whatever you have chosen to use. So I'm going to make 9 of them, in addition to the 3 chain stitches, and I close it on the first of the 9 with a slip stitch. This should be enough for my crystal. If you hear background noise, my neighbors have decided to do some renovation work on the stairs in their garden. So they'll be keeping us company while we work on this necklace. So at this point, I'm going to move along with slip stitches until the last available chain before the crystal. Always keep the right side of the chains facing you. This way, the work will stay more even. Once I get to this point, I insert the hook into the little loop that holds the 2 crystals, go into the chain, treat it like an arch, and make 5 single crochets, always using this hook, this yarn, and my hand. For me, 5 single crochets are enough, but you should judge for yourself. Depending on the type of crystals, the specific yarn, the way you use your hand, and the crochet hook. So after making these 5 single crochets, I always make sure to keep the chains with the right side of the chains facing me. I go into the empty chain and make a slip stitch. Then I insert the hook right here in the middle, release the yarn, secure the loop, and turn the work. I make a chain stitch. I move the crystals I just worked with using the single crochets just like this. Then I pick up the next ones and make my 5 single crochets one after another. After making the 5 single crochets, I make sure the right side of the chains is facing me, insert the hook into the empty chain and make a slip stitch. I put the hook back in this position, which is just to keep the work steady. It doesn't have any other purpose. I make a chain stitch. I gently rotate the crystals, move the dark ones to the opposite side, and then carefully insert the hook into the loop formed by the chain. And I go ahead and make my 5 single crochets. I make sure the chains are facing the right side towards me. I insert the hook into the empty chain, make a slip stitch, hold the work in place with the hook and turn the work. I make a chain stitch and move the work again, so that the crystals I need to work with are underneath. And I carefully make my 5 single crochets, one for each stitch. I make sure the right side of the chains is facing me, insert the hook into the empty chain, the small one just to be clear. And I make my slip stitch. Holding it in place with the hook and my finger, I turn the work and make a chain stitch. I rotate the crystals so that the ones I need to work on are underneath, insert the hook, and make 5 single crochets. I straighten the work, keep the right side of the chains facing me, insert the hook into the empty chain with a slip stitch. I carefully hold the work securely in place with both the hook and my finger, making sure it stays steady. Then I gently turn it, make a chain stitch, and slowly rotate the work like this, just as you can see here. And I make my 5 single crochets. Again, I make sure the work is straight and insert the hook into the empty chain. With a slip stitch, I carefully place the hook right in the center between the two crystal groups, holding it gently with my finger. I turn the work and then make a chain stitch. I rotate the crystals like this so that the ones I need to work on are underneath, ready for the single crochets. I carefully keep the work position straight in front of me, making sure it is aligned, and then I make a neat slip stitch. Again, finger and hook, turn it around. Chain stitch. Turn again. 5 single crochets, and this is the sequence you need to keep throughout. The only difficulty, if we can even call it that, is to keep turning, but in reality, it's all very easy. I've reached the end, so I'm going to close it up in order to attach the clasp. If, on the other hand, you've chosen to make a long necklace without a clasp, just ignore the loop and these 2 crystals here. There will be the chain and you'll join it here. I've set aside the other piece and picked up the necklace. So after the slip stitch, this is the situation we're in. First of all, let's take our openable needle. I take the thread attached to the chains, insert the crystal and pull the needle out. I'm going to remove the damaged part of the thread that I forgot to cut off earlier. I go into the first available chain. I pick up the yarn and move along with slip stitches until I reach the single crochets. I make a securing chain and hide the threads among the stitches with a few quick stitches. Then I take the other one. I carefully weave it a bit through the stitches and then gently bring the thread to the end of this arch so that all the knots aren't in the same spot. Then I go to the back and make a few knots just like I did before. After that, I'll apply the glue. See you later. And here is our finished necklace. Maybe it's a slightly more challenging project, but it's a lot of fun to make and to wear with all these alternating colors and crystal placements. And that's it for today's video. I really hope I gave you another idea, and if you want, let me know in the comments what you think. If you liked the video, leave me a like and share it. Also, I invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and activate the bell so you'll be notified about every new update I post. In the info box, I'll also leave you the links to all my social media, so if you want, I'll be waiting for you there too. Bye everyone, and see you in the next video.